Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time again for Living Hope, a weekly journey designed to provide hope, inspiration, and education for those living with pancreatic cancer. Sharing the real life stories of those really affected by this deadly disease and how they deal with it on a daily basis. With our host, Roberta Luna, she has a few ideas on how to deal with it. She's been doing it for 30 years here.
Not 30 years. I mean, I'll be glad when I get to that end, but actually I just celebrated, I just turned 21 again for the second
21.
time.
Why did I go 30?
I don't know, but
You're
I mean,
way ahead of me here. 30, I don't know.
I'll get there, but just let's not push it just yet.
Okay.
That makes me too much older.
That's right. Well, today we're recording this one separately outside of our normal streaming hours because we had some trouble with Zoom and all these other things here. So our guest is going to be on a phone call. We'll try that today here.
Yeah, it'd be the first time I've ever done that. I don't get to see my guests, but it's fine. We'll make it work. Things happen, and we just go with it, right? Just like Bob Marley said, every little thing's gonna be all right.
That's right, which is appropriate because your guest is Jamaican, and she had a picture of Bob Marley in the backdrop there when we
Yes,
saw
she
her.
did. Yeah, I wish everybody could see that. But anyway, Angela, thank you for joining us today. I'm sorry we had so many issues, but we'll be airing this a little bit at a later
So let's
date.
introduce her full
Yes.
name here too.
Angella Dixon-Watson is joining us today, and she's from, I believe, Maryland. And she was recovering from surgery for another type of cancer when the doctors dropped the bombshell pancreatic cancer. Hi, Angela. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and just share your journey with us? What happened?
Yes, as you mentioned, I live in Maryland, and I, enjoy going on vacation to Montego Bay, Jamaica, my place of birth, and that's where I went to high school, etc. And for years, I worked downtown Washington, D.C. at the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, and that's the perfect city for a purpose ride, 5K walk.
Yes,
to get
coming
more
up soon, right?
funding for pancreatic cancer. That's April 29th. I have my walking sneakers ready for Saturday, April 29th. What did you ask me a question, Roberta?
No, I just want you to just, share your journey. Tell us, what happened. I know
Yes.
you were
Yes.
going to the doctor for a totally
Yes.
different thing and got this bombshell dropped on you. So if you want to share that
Yes.
with us.
Yes. I'll go down memory lane. We're going to go back to 2016. That's 7 years ago. I cannot believe that. I'm still here against all odds, and I'm grateful to my Heavenly Father for his ongoing protection. So here's what happened. I had my annual physical in March 2016 and was in perfect health. Then about 4 weeks later, between April and May, I started having itching in the palms of my hand. And the itching graduated to the rest of my body. And my husband said he heard me crying out at night. Some nights I can't sleep. And then the next thing happened was jaundice. I became extremely jaundiced to the point where I had to cover the steering wheel of the car in order for the heat not to burn my hands. Then the third one was weight loss. And so my husband saw me in the hallway at home, and he asked, "Are you losing weight?" So I returned to my primary care physician, whom I saw 4 weeks earlier, and she did lab work on me. And then, wow, it's now lab work came back that I now have diabetes. So I guess it comes under this sudden onset of diabetes symptom. And then, after that, I did my doctor. She asked me to do a CT scan. I did a CT scan. It showed that it was there was a cyst, but the kind was unknown. And then after that, because the kind was unknown, I did an endoscopy. And the endoscopy showed it was duodenal cancer, and I was told it would have been an easy fix because it had not penetrated any of my organs. So the next step was to do, what they did after that was to schedule little surgery. So I had little surgery, was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, and then at home for another 2 weeks. And then at the end of 4 weeks, Roberta, I was so excited. I dressed up in my colorful Caribbean outfit and thinking I was going to be really discharged because I was told the surgery went well. But the doctor came in the room, and he looked a bit uneasy when he came in the room. And then he sat to the left of me, and he shared that the lab results came back, and the cancer was aggressive. and it was also in my lymph nodes. So I now have pancreatic cancer. They checked 13 lymphs, and then it was in 9. That information blindsided us. And maybe the doctor mentioned the stage, but I did not hear that. So I saw a nurse passing by, and I asked, so what stages could it find out from the doctor what stage this disease is? And she came back and she said, stage 2. So that was a big disappointment to us, and it was very shocking. My husband was with me at that time. And so the next meeting was with to discuss treatment plans. So the next meeting was with the oncologist. But before she came in the room, her nurse came and rattled off all the side effects of chemo. And I told her, I won't be doing any treatment because I knew no one will survive pancreatic cancer. So why should I torture myself? And then she had a puzzled look on her face, and then she went and got the oncologist. And when the oncologist came in the room, she asked if I had questions. And I said, no, I don't. And I already gave her. And I gave her the same reasons I gave her nurse. And then she intuitively said to me, why don't you give treatment a try? Because your result may be different from others. And I thought about that, and then I went ahead and signed off on the paperwork. And but at that time, I felt so alone, so frightened, because and in that moment, I envisioned myself slowly walking into a wrestling ring to face my opponent, rare and aggressive pancreatic cancer, neuroendocrine pancreatic cancer already in my lymph nodes. And this opponent really loses a battle, really loses a fight. And as I said, I felt alone. And I was too afraid to do Google searches because the doctor he did not want, he encouraged me not to do Google searches because the information may not be too good, may not be encouraging. So so that's what happened. I felt alone. But the good news is that I was not alone, because I have two fathers, my heavenly father and my earthly father. My heavenly father entered into this arena with me, and he protected me from the pitfalls or the potholes of chemo and radiation. And my earthly father, he lives in Mexico, and he often called me singing or playing on the piano. And his favorite song was, blow me a kiss from across the room, tell me I look nice when I'm not. Little things mean a lot. He could not see me. I was no longer 164 pounds, but I was now 127 pounds.
What type of chemo? You mentioned radiation, so did you do them together, or did you do one first and then the other? But what type of chemo were you using?
Yes, I started off with Zeloda, 2,500 milligrams of Zeloda, and I also had a port put in. So on Zeloda was 2,500 milligrams every day, and then Genzar was once per week at the hospital through my port. So that was my daily routine, and that went on for 6 months. But I had 1 week off each month. And then after the 6 months ended, I continued with Zeloda, but with radiation for 5.5 weeks. So the entire treatment plan protocol was about 7.5 months.
And did you do radiation then after that, or did they add it together?
Yeah, Zeloda and radiation were added after I've completed the first 6 months with both Zeloda and Genzar. Then after 6 months, then I started with the radiation and Zeloda for another 5.5 weeks.
And did you have the side effects that they talked to you about?
The side effects, I did not experience of such side effects from the radiation, but yet from the chemo. For example, my fingertips at times felt like they had needles, and I could not even close blinds. And also my feet felt like I was walking on nails. And nauseousness also was one of the things that really bothered me. I fainted twice, once at home, and I went to a function, and I also fainted at the function. An ambulance was called. So it was very unpleasant with the different side effects that I've experienced.
Was it as bad as what you were expecting or what you were told might happen?
A mixture, a mixture of that. Um, it was not as bad as I thought it would be. And I did have other symptoms of what to call it, some tiredness and food taste changes, etc. But it wasn't. I think I did very well during treatment. Because my oncologist, she was very pleased, but she said there were times she was concerned about me because the white blood cells sometimes they were misbehaving when I went for Gemzar, the tumor port. But outside of that, I think my experience could be worse. Let's put it that way. And I did not, although I had used surgery, I did not have to get this. I've heard people talk about getting enzymes in order to digest food and all that. I didn't have that problem.
So you didn't have to take any enzymes. You don't have to take them now.
No,
Oh, lucky.
nothing at all. From day one, I'm so amazed when I hear certain stories. But I did not know enzymes and it's just a surgery. I could eat anything I wanted. Still can do. Yes.
Well, that's good. That's very good. It doesn't always
Yes.
happen a lot. So then, so how did you get through your treatments?
Okay. In the midst of it all, I was blessed to have my supportive village of family and friends. And, some covered me in prayers and said, submitted my name to prayer groups. And along with, I had a superb medical team, doctors Jan, Regine, and Francis. They were my team. And I was blessed to have, because I could speak to them. I understand some people say that they could not talk to their oncologist. I could talk to my oncologist anytime and felt as if they heard me. So I was blessed with that supportive group, and of course my husband and grandkids and friends, all rallied around me. And sometimes at home, they would call Angie. Because sometimes some people, may call me Angie, and they say, "Hey, I'm going to the supermarket. Do you need any organic items?" And then I would tell them what they could bring for me. So I was blessed. I had a good community of friends.
That's good because the support system is very important when you're dealing with pancreatic cancer. So I'm glad you had that. Did you also look? I know you said you dealt with your faith a lot, but were there anything special regarding your faith, or did you do music or meditation? Anything else that helped you get through the treatments and the side effects?
Yes, I did. What I did when I got a CD with healing scriptures, and I also got songs that talked about healing. So I surrounded myself with with positivity. But one thing I nearly messed myself up with is this: when I started taking chemo, I used to speak, "Well, I'm going to take my poison," but script, it is said that you get what you speak. So I had to quickly change my language when I realized what I was doing to myself, and I started to speak, "I'm going to take my healing medicine." So that changed, and and then what happened during side effects? I did not. When friends called me about, "Angie, how are you feeling?" I always said, "All is well," because I did not get into details of the side effects because I just didn't want to focus on all that at the time. And then it was during those side effects that's when I started started journaling, because I wanted my grandkids to have my handwritten notes, just in case I did not make it to 6 months, because I did ask the doctor how long, and she took how long, if I do not do treatment, how long would I have? And she said up to 6 months. So, so I started journaling just for my grandkids to know about.
Well, you say
Nada.
you started journaling, but you took it a little bit further. You actually wrote a book.
Yes, yes, friends encouraged me, because initially I did not have, that was not on my bucket list. But friends encouraged me to put my notes into a book, because it may encourage others. So yes, I did, and the book was published in 2017.
And what did you include in your book or in your journal?
In the book, I have, as a woman of faith, what I did, I had included scriptures and songs which blessed me emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And my hope was that others would be similarly blessed. So I mentioned my journey, and I also have scriptures and songs that took me through the rough parts of treatment. And so the book is on Amazon, and I've been on Amazon now for since 2017.
Actually, I just got my copy on Kindle. I haven't finished it yet, but I did start it. It's called Gift of Another Breath. You Have Pancreatic Cancer. So just want to give you a little shout out. So if anybody's interested, you can, go to Amazon.com and get that. And also, like I said, I got mine on Kindle because I like using my Kindle. I can take it anywhere.
Oh, very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you wanting to share that. I know it's difficult because you're journaling. A lot of times that's very personal. So to be able to get that published and have people read it, I think it's going to be a great help to others. Did you have to make any kind of lifestyle changes at all?
Yes, for me, I was never a big poultry, meat eater. Let's put it that way. So I sort of beefed up doing my herbs and my my herbs and my juicing. So in the mornings when I get up, the first thing I do is drink a bottle of water. Then I would prepare let's say lemon in some warm water with some tea, mint tea or moringa, whatever it is, and then I do soups. And I always, ever since that, from 7 years ago, I always juice carrots with ginger and aloe vera and whatever green thing, just to have that. So every day I do my juicing of the natural stuff, and then of course I do eat other stuff, what do you call it now? I may go to Jamaican restaurant. I may pick up a Jamaican patty, but but outside of that, I sort of stick with me in the soups, salads, and my juicing, and etc. So that's what I
have. You had to make any lifestyle changes as far as your activity? Are you more active now, or just as active, or has that changed in any way?
No, I'm so blessed, Robert. No, just no changes in my activity. And I'm a social being, so I love to be out, and even on my worst day after I got my what do you call it, my Gemza in the port and coming from the hospital, because that was 1,000 milligrams of Gemza on Tuesdays once per week, and on my way back from the hospital, I would hang out with friends at a Jamaican restaurant, Negro Jamaican restaurant, and then we just chill, listen to reggae music. But when I got home, I would crash, because that day I would have taken in 3,500 milligrams of chemo, 2,500 from Zeloda, and 1,000 from Gemzar. And then when I got home, I just went to bed.
And you're also an advocate. You do advocacy. You go out for, I assume, do you go to Washington, D.C. to do the advocacy day for, research, funding for research or anything?
I only do purpose tribe. I do not do other advocacies. But one thing I do, I do on Sundays. What I've done, Roberta, is this: in my I've created a WhatsApp group. Okay, because I think you had mentioned that you wanted to hear a little bit about my activity in the Black community. Did you?
Yes.
Did you want me to?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what happens here, here are two experiences which jolted me to start a weekly risk or symptoms reminder post to my African American community, composed mainly of Caribbean individuals. And a friend of mine, a friend I went to college, to high school with, in December, he called me and said, "Angie, I was just diagnosed with pancreatic cancer stage 4. And within couple of weeks he was gone." And another person called me and said that he was diagnosed and he fainted in the doctor's office, and now he's gone. And these are people, both men had families, and they were gone within weeks of being told of their cancer situation. So what I did, I started an interactive WhatsApp platform called Health Matters. And this site and members, post health nuggets that we should consider incorporating in our lives. And what I've done is, as a matter of fact, what I've done is, what's her name? Laura Mister's chart. What I've done, I sent out that chart to people in the WhatsApp group, okay? And then every Sunday for the past 8 weeks, I would marry a symptom from that chart to a video story that I got from Let's Win or from Pancan, because I think when people read it's much more memorable. But I think reading or hearing someone speaking their story is more memorable. So what I did just on Sunday, Roberta, I sent out your video, and it's under this heading. I have it under the heading as heredity, and I posted your story as a possibility of pancreatic cancer. And so that's what I've done is every week, every Sunday, I highlight a different symptom and I send it out to the team. So that's a part of my advocacy.
Well, thank you for including my story. I do appreciate that. And I want to ask you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, and I really haven't gotten anybody who's really known, but Black Americans have a higher incidence of pancreatic cancer. Do you have any idea why, or even a guess at to why that could be?
Yes, well, according to the National Cancer Institute, SEER data, Black Americans have the highest incidence rate, and I understand that it's not because of biology, but more due to social and access issues. And here's an example, reference access. An African American called me, and he said that he was diagnosed with stage. What happened? He said he just got a job, and a new job, and he had to wait 90 days in order to get on the insurance. But in the meantime, he was not feeling well because he started to feel fatigued. So he went to he was encouraged to go to the hospital, although he did not have insurance. And he went to the emergency room, fainted in the emergency room. And when they found out he had pancreatic cancer stage 4, and he lost 90% of his stomach. So his lack of access was not anything except that he did not have insurance to go to the doctor much earlier than the time he did. So that is one of the reasons why I think there's lack of access, and that's basically what I came out with this thing.
Well, I know too their participation in clinical trials is low. Is that? Do you think that's the same reason, just not having the information or access to it?
I think so. I think there's a fear that it's not going to work out for them. I think there's an underlying fear. I do not know of anything else that could be the reason, apart from the lack of access, the fear of the unknown, and then what happens to we tend to self-medicate. For example, in my Caribbean community, if having undigested issues or stomach pain, we tend not to seek urgent medical attention. We resort to self-diagnosing and self-care. Unfortunately, these symptoms are a possibility of pancreatic cancer. So I think thinking that it's not serious, having acid reflux is not serious, or whatever it is, then we get caught later in the game.
Any ideas on how can we change as far as getting this information out to the Black community?
The best I can say is what I have been doing on an individual basis. I do not know on a macro basis, because I think Pancan and Let's Win, they all have outreach programs. So to the Black community. So in my little group of African American, mainly Caribbean, I do my part in sharing the symptoms, and as a matter of fact, just yesterday a friend called me. She called me Pancan Central, and we cracked up laughing because I think it's because I keep sharing health postings, upcoming webinars on pancreatic cancer awareness, Laura Metzger's risk and symptoms chart, clinical trials, purpose trial, and my survivor video story, I'm Still Here, created by Let's Win. So I think that's one of the reasons why she called me yesterday. She said, "Hello, Pancan Central."
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing for the Black community, but also just for anybody diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's wonderful to hear your story, and I'm glad that you're still here with us and still breathing. And I just want to thank you for sticking it out today and, being with us. And I want to really come back with you sometime and really have you on, because I really want to see you when we talk, but really just try to do this again and get all of our kinks and whatever worked out. But I do thank you for coming today. And as we end, as long as you speak my name, I shall live forever. I want to dedicate to my mom, Granny Faye Whitson, because April 2nd was her birthday, and just letting her know that she's still very much a part of our lives, and we love and miss her greatly, and just especially all the fun times we had with her. And just want to thank you again, Angela, for joining us today, and everybody for listening and just being here. We are very grateful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Roberta, for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Another great reason to tune in each and every time to hear our living hope stories, the journey we provide each and every week for hope, inspiration, and education for anyone living with pancreatic cancer. Sharing the real life stories like our real life guest today did about this disease and how they deal with it on a daily basis. And of course, if you are suffering and you need some help right now or know somebody that does, there is a number to call immediately. For patient services, simply dial 877 the number 2 PANCAN. That's 877 the number 2 PANCAN for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. For the OC Talk Radio Network, I'm Paul Roberts, thanking you for joining us, hoping you'll share this with somebody you know, and hoping to see you back here again as we continue our Living Hope journey, right here from our studio at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.